Okay, so for this effect, we're going to go back to a music video that I mentioned before. You've seen the Forrest Gump Funk by Scott Comanche in a previous chapter. This is a song called Hippie Mandy, and it's a beautiful song about a lady. This is a lady called Emma who played the title role of Hippie Mandy, and it's quite a sad story. She the lady who this story is all about, Hippie Mandy, she was known locally as Hippie Mandy. She was such a happy soul, but she suffered greatly from depression and sadly took her own life. And Scott, the artist, wanted to write this song, and we took a lot of time to make this, because it was quite a poignant story, and we wanted to kind of give the feeling that she was no longer there, but not in a cliche twee way. So what we did was we established her. There are a number of scenes in this video, just like most decent music videos, and we established her in certain scenes first. Let me find, there's a bit where she's running through a puddle just coming up here. So this area here, let me just play that. So we'd established this scene, which was looking straight up a dirt track, really, and how she's, you know, having fun. I love that shot. My lens got filthy. So we had this track here, and we also had a bit of footage of her funeral, or you know, we mocked it up and we sought out the location, and we had this bit, which was actually at a funeral, which is actually the only time that we had the singer Scott Comanche actually there. This is when he comes in. And this is the wake. Let me just mute this now. This is the wake that we shot for Mandy, and kind of on the build up to this. Remember, yeah, we have touched on this before, because we had the wipe effect. Remember when she met the drug dealer. But what we also had earlier in this whole music video was everyone at her funeral. So we kind of set it here. So we have her totally different color grade on this. We've desaturated it and made it colder, and we have a few close-ups of her, and then we have her here. This actual movement, if I just get it back to there and show this movement here, if I select there, you can see it's been keyframed. We shot at 4K and we output it in 1080, so we had room to move. So this we come back to, but this is kind of all establishing the kind of being at the graveyard and being at the graveside. So we use this shot, and we also use her running through the puddles, and we create the vanishing effect like this. So here we have her here, and then she vanishes. And here we have her here walking down. It's a slightly different version, but again, she vanishes. And the technique we use to do this is actually built on what we've done in the previous chapter, which was the constant zoom effect. So let me just get in here for this one first. And as you can see, it's only just 2 clips. Let me copy that. And let's just paste this out here so we can look at them. So we've just taken them out of we've copied them and pasted them back out of the nest. So what we did was, let me just hide that for now. And if I show you the whole edit, this is obviously without the color grade, but we had her here. I'll just make it a little bit longer. And then what I asked her to do was to step out of scene. We haven't got the audio, but there's I'll get out. And what we did is I made sure that I went back to the focal point. I kept the focal point, and the camera was on a tripod, locked off, and I just got a few seconds of that. In fact, I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to show you here. So let me just get where she's got out, and she's there. Good. And the whole importance of this is setting up the shot and knowing what you're going to do with the edit, which makes you different from a camera operator. This is what makes a videographer. And that is someone who not only records, but also edits. And if you know what you're looking for and you're not necessarily a camera operator, you can explain it to the camera operator what you're looking to get. And for this, my instruction would just simply be, get a locked off shot with the talent in shot, and then get the talent out of shot and continue for 5 seconds, 10 seconds to be on the safe side, with that locked off shot with the focus not changed. What I did is I set focus on her, and then I set it to manual focus so it wouldn't move. So what we do is we just play that through a little bit, get as much as we kind of can, or as much as we kind of want. Will we be out by now? Yeah, we'll be out by now. So what we do is we just delete that, cut that, and then I'm just going to shift and delete to close them up. And what I like to do, I mean, we could crossfade. We just easily just do a crossfade and just fade that in like that. Boom, it's done. I like to overlay, just so I've got the freedom to go back and forth, and get the crossover exactly when I want it, rather than having to play around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just select the end and Shift D. And what we're looking for is we're kind of looking for everything to kind of look the same, which is why we're using a cross dissolve. And if we kind of drag that cross dissolve out a little bit, we can allow ourselves just that bit of time while she gets out of shot. And you see how if it was a little bit too long, if I just go in and out there to fully pre-render that. And if the fade is too long, obviously because there's wind here, we need to kind of think about the trees. And the trees are important, because if we're crossfading too long and the tree is different, it can ruin the effect. So if we play that now from here, you can see we see the movement in the trees, and we don't want that. We really don't want that. So what we can do is we can kind of close that off. It's still a little bit. So there's another way to do this, and I kind of nailed it wherever I did it the first time. I nailed it. And sadly, I'm not doing it this time. So let's say you've got footage that doesn't allow this, and you're thinking, oh God, there's too much movement in the background. Well, what we can do is we can leave this as a plate behind, and we can bring this over here. Let's just get it to where, yeah, okay, she's there. So let's cut that, and just going to delete that. And then what we do is we reverse. So we put that plate, that's the background, and this is effectively going to be the foreground. Okay. And then we just grab these two, duplicate them. And where are we going? Yeah, we're going to After Effects. Right click, replace with After Effects composition. Now, this is purely to get the top layer done, but we're bringing the bottom layer just as a reference. Okay, so this is now opening in a new one, and I didn't have it open, so we're just going to say Mandy Roto, and that will load the footage in here, and then I will resize so we're actually in here, and now we can see Mandy right there, and she's not there. Okay, so what do? Well, we hide this for now because we don't need it, and we're just going to double click. And what we want to do is we want to mask out everything around her. So we want to get Mandy. We can also get some of this as well if we need to, but we don't really need to. We just want her. So we have this selected. We're in the layer. We go to our rotoscoping tool, and we start the process. That's got her quite well. We don't have to be too accurate about this because it's quite a long shot. So we're quite far away from her. Don't need that. And we definitely need that. That's part of her whole getup. And we just want that as well. Good. Happy with that. Maybe just a little bit more there. Should we zoom in and have a look? We haven't quite got all of her hair. So I'm just going to drag this in, refine edge tool. I'm just going to go around here and just say this is our girl. This is what we want. That's all good. And around this side, this is what we want. Might have to keep an eye on her hair a little bit, purely because it will be blowing in the wind. But this is a frame rate mismatch. It's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. It's no big of a deal. I'm going to go back to my rotor brush tool. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm just going to start clicking ahead and let that propagate in between. Obviously, propagate is a term that you've learned by now quite well. And yeah, so we're just going to leave this work its way through, and we'll come back once it's done. And I'll skip forward a little bit just to save your sanity. You know what you're doing with regards to rotoscoping and then freezing time. And now that that's all frozen up, we come back out, and there she is cut out. And if we turn that back on, there she is in there, and there she is without the background. We're going to leave that background turned off. We're going to Control and S to save that. We'll come back to Premiere Pro. And if I just hide this for now, disable, we have, remember we have right here, we have this one with her in, and we have the bottom without her. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this back on. We're going to hide the layer with her. And as you can see now, when I disable that on video 2, look around here, and all we have then is our talent right there. So then all we have to do is, if we bring this back and add a cross dissolve, play that back, and only she disappears. And because it's only her that's in there on that alpha channel, we can make this as long a fade as we want, just by going in, rotoscoping, and just being that little bit more accurate. Rather than crossfading between two clips, we literally effectively superimpose her over a slate. So a slate being the background that she's not there. This same scene, but without her. And because of that, we can fade her out as slowly as we want to. So that's how to go even more detailed with that. Now, to move along, I want to also look at this sequence, which is her walking up and away. And if you look here, as you can see, we've just got a cross dissolve, and a long cross dissolve, and she's not there as long as my system keeps up to speed, and done. Great. And the way in which we did this is, obviously you can see that there's no camera movement here at all. And if I go back to here, I'm just going to paste that in, and I'm actually going to delete everything apart from the first clip. I'm going to drag this out, because this will be the whole walk going along. And obviously we started right at the beginning where she's right by the camera. So she walked by the camera. So to do this, to make this effect, all I did is I played through, and with my my backslash, remember we have a keyboard shortcut to add edit. If you haven't already done it, if you search for add edit, the default is Control K. I have it just on the backslash, which on my keyboard is just to the left of Z. I just find that a lot easier, especially if I'm going between that and Control Z for undo. So I'm just going to have this clip highlighted. I'm just going to play through and cut where I kind of want to cut forward. And I'm going to think in and out. So when we press play, we're in. It'll be out, leave it out, leave it out, leave it out. And then I'm going to cut again to be in, and then out again. And wait a little bit longer, in, and then maybe out. So I'm going to space that so I know that this is out. So I'm just going to click that, hold down Shift, and click the next one from, you know, where we're in, and click that one where we're in. And now if we just hit delete on the keyboard, we have all these spaces. However, if we highlight these again and hold down Shift Delete, it will delete them and close them all up, ripple deleting. So boom, that's done. Now what I want to do is I want to check, because let me just cut that again. Let me just look through more of the footage. And yeah, she moved out of shot and then she was there. Now if she hadn't moved out of shot, we could have used some from before she moved in, but I'm going to keep that one as well because we need her out of shot. And now to get the start of this effect, all we did was hold down Control and drag over these and Shift D. So now we have our slowly fading to where she's at different places and there. And then finally she goes. It's a bit annoying that the light changed between these two. That was really annoying for me, but you know, you can't sadly control the sun. If I did, living in the UK, I'd probably have it all the time. But let's go in there and out there, and let's just pre-compose that again. Not pre-compose, pre-render. Wrong program, Adam. And I've made this just a little bit longer when she finally exits from the scene, just to kind of give it just a little bit more something. Actually, I'm going to cancel that pre-render because we don't need, we're going to do something else now. And if I just play that back, that last bit, and she, if the machine wasn't stuttering, and yeah, she's gone. And there's very little movement up here, so we don't need to rotoscope her out. So now that that's done, if you remember back in the previous chapter, we did the constant zoom effect. Well, I'm just going to apply that again. So we select everything. We haven't faded on the ends. I'm going to press N to nest, hit enter. Don't need to label it. And all we do is we do exactly the same before. We go scale and position and drag that to the end. And then I'm going to come back here and we kind of want to zoom out again. So I'm going to play in a little bit, maybe 130. And I don't think we need to bother with a position, but let's have a look. Play that back, or pull that back even to the beginning. And as we go now, because the scale starts at 130 and goes down to 100, we're slowly moving back. And as you can see, everything around her makes it look like it's all one movement. And we continue the movement after she goes to kind of sell it. That was where we moved the camera, so maybe trim that end off there. And yeah, and actually on the original video, we use that as the finisher. And the main lyric is "See you later, hippie Mandy," or "We'll miss you, dear sweet Mandy," rather. So we put that on the end with a little typewriter tool, little plugin. Absolutely love that. Big shout out actually to the typewriter tool. If I go to Adam Editing and Reset to Save Layout, this is by a fella called DoD Media. He's David O'Dwyer, and he made this, and I just bought it. It was I think it was a couple of quid, and it's brilliant because there is not currently a typewriter tool in Premiere Pro, but he made this by DoD Media. Search for him. He's brilliant, and he's on YouTube. And it's a great typewriter tool. You drag this in, you start playing with it, and you go into edit it, and you can select what time it takes to write on, and everything. It's brilliant. Just seriously, Google typewriter DoD in YouTube, and you'll find him. And tell him Adam sent you. He doesn't know who I am. But anyway, playing this back, we use that in here. And in fact, I'm just going to pre-render this because I know that my system will suffer. I think it's running a bit hot at the moment. So I'm just going to Control and Enter just to pre-render everything. And yeah, we should be good to go to play that to you. Actually, I'm going to go to right to the end because we kept, see how the music finishes here? We left the ending of the music video just to tail off a little bit, just so we just didn't go straight out. And with that pre-rendered, we'll watch it back. In fact, we'll go from this bit. Yeah, we miss you this Monday. Beautiful. As you see, we actually decided not to have it typing on. We just used it and I just cut it up so we could actually use it just straight on. But yeah, looks lovely. That's the vanishing effect.